This is KGW News at 11.
We're up to our knees with water and it's just slowly sinking down. It's happening so quickly.
A Washington couple faced the unthinkable when their SUV fell into a sinkhole in Vancouver. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm John Adams. Thankfully, the couple was able to escape with only minor injuries. Ashley Grahams has their story.
Early Saturday morning, water rushed through an intersection in Vancouver, Washington.
We seen there was water on the road and we're like, what's this?
Caitlin Bicknell and her boyfriend drove through the water. She couldn't have guessed what would happen next.
As soon as we took the corner, it just was like a roller coaster. It immediately front end went down.
Their Jeep fell into a sinkhole.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, did this just happen? Is this real life?
Bicknell says her boyfriend was composed and tried to help her out of the car.
I was panicking. During that time, my boyfriend, he was very calm and was rolling down the windows, telling me what to do, go out through the window.
The car quickly filled with water.
Slowly sinking down and filling with water, just like the movie, so you could see literally the floorboard just flood.
Bicknell and her boyfriend escaped, her out the door and him out the window. But the Jeep was stuck at an angle, hinging on the hole in the middle of the street.
I mean, that's like what one of the cops said to me. He's like, I've never seen this before. And everybody was in awe.
Patrick Gaines lives down the street. He saw the water on the road and the emergency lights.
I thought, oh, okay, it possibly is a car accident. And as I got closer, I'm like, wait, no, that's a car that's in a hole.
It doesn't feel real.
Vancouver police say a water main broke and caused the sinkhole to form just after 1 in the morning. Fortunately, Bicknell walked away with just a few bruises. Her boyfriend wasn't injured.
So I'm very thankful it happened to us and not an older person.
Now, it's hard to believe that a sinkhole was ever here, but thanks to Vancouver Public Works, the hole is filled and the water leak is repaired. In Vancouver, I'm Ashley Grahams, KGW News.
There it goes.
Well, another tree down in southwest Portland. This happened last Saturday as those strong storms were just starting to move into the area. It's just one of hundreds of trees that have fallen throughout this week as we've battled snow and freezing rain. The storm system finally moving on, but cleaning up the damage might take weeks or even months. And Joe Ranieri joining us now. And Joe, what a tough week it's been here in the area for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it's been very tough, and it's hard to believe. It's been a week since we start to see some of that snow and that ice on top of that, and we're still seeing some remnants of it through parts of the metro area and throughout the Columbia River Gorge. But the Columbia River Gorge is going to be seeing fresh freezing rain. They have this ice storm warning that's in place tonight all the way into tomorrow afternoon. Winter weather advisory throughout the Oregon Cascade. So let's break down the timeline on when things will start to improve throughout the Columbia River Gorge. So we'll see freezing rain, sleet, and snow tonight along I-84. Still, it's going to be very treacherous driving along I-84 the rest of your weekend, basically. Tomorrow morning, still dealing with some freezing rain. Heading into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, we'll transition into warmer temperatures, which means we'll be seeing some rain showers over Troutdale East. And on Monday, it's going to be rainy and warmer. So as we look at the hour-by-hour forecast, west side of the state is going to be seeing warm conditions, and we're done with any freezing conditions here in the metro area. And you'll notice those pockets of that salmon color throughout parts of Mount Hood, Hood River. That is the areas of freezing rain that folks are going to be seeing here basically tonight and into tomorrow morning. Things will start to warm up by the afternoon, and that means we're going to be warming up through the next couple of days as well. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. Well, PGE has made significant progress in restoring power in the past 36 hours, but roughly 1,600 customers remain in the dark this evening. In the past week, they say they've addressed power outages affecting around 300,000 households. But if you are one of those customers still without power and you're trying to figure out when it will be back on, PGE says they can't really give an estimate right now, but they expect most homes will have power again by the end of this weekend. Well, the impact of this storm is still putting lives in danger. A Southwest neighborhood is now begging PGE to do better after they were trapped by downed power lines that are still keeping some stuck inside. Sydney Dorner has the story.
In this neighborhood behind me in Southwest Portland, some residents have been trapped inside their homes since Thursday. With down power lines and trees, they say they just want answers on which wires are live. Neighbors on Park Hill Drive and Park Hill Way in Southwest are frustrated. Power lines had them trapped when trees fell and took out their power Thursday evening.
The tree came down and the power lines started snapping, and my neighbors right behind me, a tree came down in their backyard and a wire fell, and it's now drooping between our houses.
The downed tree kept residents from being able to get in and out of the neighborhood.
We had somebody fall, a traumatic event. They ended up in the ICU, trauma ICU at OHSU, and now we couldn't get an emergency vehicle through here if we needed to, or people get out if they needed to.
The tree blocking the neighborhood was eventually moved, but the two streets still have downed power lines throughout their lawns and backyards. Residents say the recent death of a family due to falling on power lines has scared them.
We're just begging them to let us know which wires are live. We'll take the tree down ourselves. We'll get rid of the tree for you. We've got chainsaws. We're ready to help.
PGE says people should assume any downed or sagging line is live, urging people to keep 50 feet away. PGE responded in a statement saying they are taking appropriate actions for public safety and responded to the scene Friday night. The tight-knit neighborhood says they don't expect to be moved up on the long line of homes that still need power but do want answers. Residents say there are still two families stuck inside. Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
Well, it's been incredibly difficult trying to get around on the ice this past week, and a record number of people have gone to the hospital because of injuries from falls. Multnomah County's health department says 1 in 5 emergency room visits on Friday were from falls alone. 222 people went to the hospital in just one day because of injuries from the ice, a new record high for a day. That's up from the record-breaking total on Wednesday of 166 visits. They say over 800 people have gone to the hospital this past week because of a fall. Well, if you do need to get out on the ice, go slow and always assume that if a spot looks wet, that it's going to be slippery. Well, TriMet is still struggling to get back to normal after the storm. They say they're having to chip away at the ice that hasn't melted from MAX lines and platforms. MAX service is still suspended on some lines. Tonight, the Green Line is partially back between the Gateway Transit Center and Clackamas Town Center. The blue and orange lines are fully up and running, and as well as the yellow line. And the red line is down in most areas, but that's because of scheduled construction. Most of the buses are back on their regular schedules, but some lines are suspended or detoured because of road closures or hazards in the roads. Check your route before you head out the door at trimet.org. Well, the weather is causing ongoing problems for Amtrak as well. Tonight, all Amtrak service is suspended between Portland and Seattle because of a landslide covering the track south of Kelso, Washington. Amtrak says they are using buses to transport passengers between Portland and Seattle. They expect to be back up and running tomorrow morning. And a traffic alert tonight. If you're driving between Portland and Washington, you'll need to take I-205. The northbound lanes of the interstate bridge are closing for the evening. Crews are working on traffic signals on the bridge. The southbound lanes are still open and the northbound lanes are set to open back up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Well, a flood watch has been issued for portions of southwest Oregon this weekend, lasting through Monday morning, bringing a greater threat for landslides. Curry County, near the coast, is expecting 2 to 5 inches of rain over the weekend. Heavy rainfall is a landslide trigger in areas of steep terrain. And while, yes, it does rain a lot here in Oregon, geologists say too much rain without time for the ground to drain properly can be a recipe for disaster.
Debris flows are the ones that we're really concerned about for life safety, and that's because they can move really fast. They can move tens of miles per hour. And so if you're traveling through areas like under burn scars or along roads that go through some of these burn scars, you want to be extra careful.
Well, Burns adds, land that has slid before tends to slide again. And he does reiterate this threat is strictly for southwest Oregon.